It's nutrition time. Hi guys, on this episode of Nutrition with Brie, we're going to be talking about protein. Just to recap, protein is the last of our macronutrients. We already talked about fat and carbohydrates. As you guys probably know, protein is used for building strong muscles, but protein has a couple of other uses as well. It's also used to create enzymes. Enzymes help us break down and digest our food. Hormones. If you recall from our carbohydrates lesson, we talked about insulin. Insulin is just one of many hormones. Protein also helps us create immune cells. These are what keep us feeling healthy. So now that we know how useful protein is in our body, let's talk a little bit about what exactly it is and where we can find it. Protein is made up of a bunch of different amino acids. These can kind of be thought of as Lego blocks. There are 20 different kinds of amino acids, or 20 different varieties of these Lego blocks. Different protein foods contain different amounts of these amino acids. Whenever we eat protein foods, our body pulls apart these amino acids. It deconstructs a Lego block structure, and then it can utilize these amino acids to make different kinds of structures in our body. Muscles, enzymes, hormones, these are all made up of different varieties of amino acids, so it's important to eat a variety of protein foods. Now that we know a little bit about what protein does in our bodies, let's talk about what kinds of foods are good sources of protein. Some good sources of protein include things like eggs, dairy products like milk, cheese, or yogurt, nuts and seeds, beans or peanut butter, whole grains like oatmeal, brown bread, or whole wheat pasta, and finally, seafood and meat. Different protein foods are made up of different combinations of these amino acids. Some protein foods have all 20 amino acids. This kind of food is called a complete protein. While a complete protein might sound a lot better than a protein food that doesn't have all 20 amino acids, an incomplete protein, that's not always the case. Protein foods contain a lot of other nutrients, and it often depends on what type of nutrients a protein food has as to whether it's super healthy or maybe a food that we shouldn't reach for all the time. If you guys think back to our fat and carbohydrates lesson, we talked about the go slow whoa model of eating healthy. So up at the top, we have our green light. These are our go foods. They're a great choice anytime we're feeling hungry and are always nutritious to reach for. Some of our go protein foods include things like peanut butter, nuts and seeds, beans, chicken, fish, low-fat dairy products, and eggs. Under that green light, we have our yellow light. Yellow foods are those slow foods. So these foods are okay to reach for sometimes, but aren't necessarily the healthiest option. Some slow protein foods includes things like red meat, pork, or chocolate milk, or those more sugary, fun dairy products. The last color on our traffic light is the red light. The red light stands for whoa foods. Whoa foods are those foods that we shouldn't reach for very often. They're okay in moderation, but they shouldn't be a first choice. Some whoa protein foods include things like processed meats, so Spam, pepperoni, hot dogs, Vienna sausages, lunch meats. Any animal product that's highly processed isn't super good for our bodies. So that's all for this episode of Nutrition with Brie. I hope you guys learned all about protein foods. Next week, we're gonna have our last episode where we're gonna talk about micronutrients. However, we have a special guest star coming in to talk to you guys all about nutrition. Andrea Thompson, Hy-Vee's registered dietitian, is gonna answer any questions you have about nutrition and food. Registered dietitians are nutrition professionals, so she's well equipped to answer anything that you might wanna know. If you guys have any questions, feel free to submit those on your Facebook page. There will be a form that says Ask a Dietitian, so type up any questions you have there and send them our way. If you can't find the form, feel free to text or message any questions you have to your coach. We'll be sure to answer them.